Yeah, as I take a look at all of those different pictures, I just go back. We've done 4 different impact camps over the past 8 years that I've been here. We've done a couple specifically to San Francisco, which was an absolutely incredible experience for our students. And then we've gone a couple times to Spokane, Washington. And just to be able to see leaders and students just going out into the community, going out into San Francisco, where there was literally almost 1,000 people on one city block that were homeless. And our students just entered into their world and into their homes to be able to just have conversations with these people. And it was absolutely amazing to see what students could do and the stories that we got to see and experience. One of those stories specifically at San Francisco that just absolutely blew me away is we had a group, one of the early times, this was probably almost 6 years ago, we had students that were having a conversation with this younger gentleman who had just literally gotten out of jail and had been struggling with some drug stuff, but wanted to get out. And so this leader and this group of students, that's kind of how it'll work, is there's a couple leaders and a handful of students together just having conversations with these different people. Got into a conversation. The group led this person to Christ right there. And not only that, but after that happened, they were trying to figure out ways to be able to help him find an opportunity to get off the streets. And so one of our leaders literally a month later drove down there and got him out of the streets of San Francisco into a rehab facility where we got to see and hear and read these letters that this gentleman wrote to our students about what God had done in his life. And these students got to be a part of something so much bigger than God was doing with this one single person. And we just have those opportunities. We have those moments. And I remember about one of the times in Spokane, Washington. It was the last time that we went to Spokane. We did this barbecue grill at a gazebo at one of the big parks in Spokane. And I remember walking up because I was kind of making sure all of our students were up there. And I saw all of our students. We had almost 80 students that were up in Spokane, Washington. And there were almost 100 homeless people that our students had invited to dinner. And you just saw these students sitting down with all of these different people, and the conversations were so cool. Some students were praying for these people. Some students were laughing with these people. I mean, it was one of the most beautiful experiences, maybe one of the highlights, one of the top 5 moments for me that I've ever seen when it comes to youth ministry. And so as I look at and see those stories, I'm anticipating what God's going to want to do with you guys as we go to this brand new place, this brand new adventure in Portland, Oregon. And I'm so excited. We're going to be partnering with a church there called Grace Point Church. They're letting us use their facility, which is absolutely unbelievable. And we're so excited about it. And it's just going to be so cool, and I cannot wait to see just what God is going to do and how God is going to use your students and how God is going to use you over these next little bits. And really, this camp is all about one of our core values, one of our kind of focuses, our vision and mission as our church is walk with God, connect with people, and impact the world. And I feel like that comes alive at Impact Camp. Because we have to trust and lean on God. We have to let God kind of lead us to these opportunities and these moments as we kind of prepare ourselves every morning as we spend time with God. We're connected as a group of students. And some of you guys are all going to kind of be connected with some new students that you haven't been connected with before. You get to learn that and have these awesome conversations in a life group as well, in a debrief opportunity towards the end of the night, which is cool. And ultimately, we get to see students impacting the world in Portland, Oregon, which is going to be just so fun to watch. And so we're going to, basically this time is just going to be about giving you a little information as far as what we're going to be doing so that students, you can be prepared for it. Parents, you guys can know what's going to be happening. You guys can ask the questions that you have specifically and kind of help you understand what we're going to be doing to make sure that your students stay safe, because I know that that's an important piece. Because we're going into the heart of a city, and when you hear somebody say we're going to be having conversations with people that are homeless, sometimes that can kind of create a little bit of anxiety in our hearts. And so I want to try to ease some of that and help you understand a little bit of where we're going to be going. So first thing that you guys can take a look at really quick is this Impact Parent Meeting. Just a couple things to highlight here on the front side. The first part says location. We're going to be staying in Vancouver, Washington. It's about a 20-minute drive when the traffic's good, and so be praying for traffic because it was crazy. It's crazy from like 7 a.m. till 10 a.m., like crazy. It's like one of the worst places in the country, we found out, when it comes to traffic. So we're going to be starting our days a little bit later just to not have to sit in traffic for hours of this camp. But we're going to be staying in Vancouver, Washington at Grace Point Christian Church. One really cool thing about that is one of our leaders, Bree Susie, just got married, and they are going to be going to that church, and he's going to be leading worship. And Bree's husband is actually Bree's husband's dad is the lead pastor of that church, and so it was really cool how all that was connected, and it's just really cool that we're going to be able to partner with them if we go there again, just over and over again. So a couple just quick things when it comes to registration. Just want to make sure everybody's clear that registration is going to be happening at Bogus Basin. So at the other campus, right at the base of Bogus Basin Road. If you've never been there before, I think that we have the address on there so you can get there. And registration is going to start at 4:30. So I just wanted to let you know that. And we're going to actually have pickup happen at Bogus Basin as well. Basically just because all of our leaders' cars are going to be over there. So we want to make sure that our leaders can get home after a long 5 days of that. Another thing, all of our emergency contacts, those are the main people. A couple of people to note. Myself, Andrew, Josh, and Brittany are all on staff. And then CJ Wilkinson is our nurse. She's our camp nurse. She's going to be taking care of things. She's kind of been our camp nurse for the last 4 years and has done such a fabulous job. God just came through in some amazing ways just to even have CJ come. So that was just super cool, awesome story there. So those are some emergency contacts. Just in case anything happens, we wanted to give you guys that. Another thing, you're going to be able to follow us. All of our leaders are going to have their cell phones, and we'll be posting pictures to Facebook and just updates on Facebook. And I'm also going to be sending out text messages to all of you guys as parents. I've got a group text. So if you guys put your phone number on there, I can send out a text message just to give everybody one big update, just in case anything happens, or if we're running a little bit early or a little bit late as far as pickup goes on Monday, that'll just be really helpful on that side as well. Camp expectations and packing list, just make sure that you guys filter through those different things. One thing just noted here is we are not going to be staying in an air-conditioned facility. So if you can bring a small fan, that would be great. Please don't bring like a bunch of massive, huge box fans. I don't know how we'll be able to store all that. But if you could bring like a little personal fan, that would be awesome. The weather's not going to be terribly hot. It doesn't get crazy hot there most of the time, but it might just be something to be aware of. Also, if you can bring your student IDs, students, because there's going to be some great perks if you bring your student IDs. Perks like if you guys happen to go on the MAX, which is basically their like public transportation system, which you guys might have the opportunity to do, some of you groups, and you'll save some money doing that if you have your specific student ID. You can also get to like the museum for free on our free day, some of those kind of things. So student ID would be really great to have. Just a quick reminder, we don't want anybody to have cell phones. And if you want to take pictures, we're actually going to do a bunch of disposable cameras, and then we're going to capture everything on disposable cameras. That should be kind of fun, and we're going to get all the digital copies of all that as well. So also just waivers. Right now, we don't have any additional waivers, but as we filter through some of the other service projects throughout the next week, there might be a waiver. We will email that out to you if we find that, and we'll also have that available at registration if we have that. And then if you have any questions about payments, Brittany is your lady, and she will be able to answer any of those questions that you need. If you want to just flip over really quick, the schedule. Basically, the schedule is going to work like this. It's going to be 2 travel days that are going to bookend the camp. So the beginning and end of camp is really just going to be about a 10-hour travel day into Portland and back to Boise. On the way in, we're going to be able to see Multnomah Falls, which is going to be really cool. And then on the way back, we're just going to try to trek back here as soon as we can after all of your students are pretty wiped out. And then we're going to have 3 specific days. Each day is going to be a unique day. And just on the header of each one of those days, you're going to see that we're going to have a homeless day and an impact day, and we're going to have a fun day, Sunday fun day, which is going to be a lot of fun in general as well. So just wanted to let you know that. We're going to break down those days a little bit more specifically to you here in just a minute. But I wanted to answer just the question of safety really quick, just as far as what we're going to be doing, so that you guys can have some clarity. And at the end of our time, we definitely want to be able to answer any questions that you guys have as well. So I know that going to a trip like this can be a little bit intimidating, maybe even a little bit scary for you as parents. And so we want to make sure that we're answering a lot of these questions. So first thing is, we've done these camps before, and we haven't had any situations that have really been super alarming to us before. And so we really work hard to make sure that our groups are good-sized groups. All of our groups, as we do our impact time in the city, are dual gender, so guys and girls are together for a very specific reason, just to make sure that no girl groups, if they were by themselves, could be a little bit more vulnerable. So we have guys and girls together. We have a female and a guy leader in every single group. And then through that, we're going to put basically groups of students together. It's a cool opportunity for our students to get to know different students anywhere between 9th and 12th grade, even our graduates. So that's something that I really like. Our leader ratio in those is 1 to 4. That's going to be basically our leader ratio. We're going to have 8 students to two leaders throughout all of camp, which is good for us. And then we'll have these orange backpacks, so everybody will be very noticeable. You're going to be rocking these really bright orange construction worker style backpacks that have our impact logo and the whole thing. But those will be helpful for us to be able to see where everybody's at. And it'll also be nice for you to be able to carry your water bottles. And inside of those backpacks, for our leaders, we're going to be having a few specific things. We're still waiting on a couple. But we've got these really simple first aid kits that all of our leaders will have, that just have very simple stuff. And if it gets any more than what this needs, we'll just call CJ, our nurse, immediately, and she'll just be able to take care of whatever that looks like. She'll just come and travel to wherever we're at. We're also, because Portland is... there's not a right to carry. It's not a right to carry state. You cannot conceal and carry there. All of our leaders, just in case, are going to be having mace. They're all going to be carrying it. They're going to put it right in their pocket. Just in case anything gets a little bit out of hand, we'll have the opportunity there. I don't anticipate any one of our leaders ever needing this, but we're kind of just taking that unique safety precaution just to be over safe on that front as well, just because we want to make sure that you guys know that we're aware of that, and just making sure that we're taking care of some of those specific things. Also, right after this meeting, all of our leaders are going to be getting a specific hour and a half intentional training. We're going to put them through some of these different hypothetical situations that they'll find themselves in, and we're going to give them good perspectives as far as what it looks like when they find themselves in an awkward or difficult situation in any one of these different places, just so that they know how we want them to think, and they can be able to think right on the spot as well, because it's just going to be really important for our leaders to know how to respond to some of these unique situations that they might find themselves in intentionally. And then also, we're just going to be, we will be able to send out any type of specific text messages if anything happens. So we are all going to have our cell phones as leaders. So if there is anything that were to happen, which again, I don't anticipate whatsoever, but just in case there was, we're all going to have our phones, and I'm able to send out a text to all of you as parents, and I'm able to send a text to all of our leaders instantaneously, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. If we need to rendezvous to a specific location or change anything, we have the opportunity and ability to be able to do that. And so just wanted to at least give you a quick picture of some of those things that we're going to be having with us, and some of the steps that we want to take on our side. But each one of the days that we have is going to have some specific opportunities and maybe some challenges for our students and even for our leaders. And so, Andrew, if you want to come on up here, he's going to just paint a quick picture of what Homeless Day is going to look like.
I realize that some of the safety stuff can be a little uncomfortable and overwhelming, but I want you to know this. What I've found as a student growing up in my own youth ministry, and also as a leader now leading students in what I think is one of the best youth ministries in the country, is that it's those moments, those incredibly uncomfortable moments when you step out of your comfort zone, that we see the most substantial, exponential growth. And not that we're going to kick your students to the curb and put them in like life-threatening, dangerous situations for the sake of God to change their lives, and that they like accept him in the moment thinking they're going to die as their personal Lord and Savior. But similar to that, we want to leave room in that space between like feeling in control and out of control for God to show up, and he does. And that is what we want for all of you to experience the impact this year, is when you're out on the streets and when you're interacting with people and you don't know how to process all of the heartbreak that you're feeling and all of the anxiety that you're feeling, that there's a space there for God to show up and for you to draw close to him and rely on him in a moment that you can't control, that maybe you can't fully process. So I just want you to know, Impact has more space for growth than maybe any other camp that we do. And I'm so excited that we get to go on this crazy adventure to Portland together. That being said, you're going to experience some weird stuff. I don't know if you've done any homeless ministry in Boise, or for those of you who've been to Impact before, you're going to see some things and experience some things that are a bit awkward. Some of those things will be funny. Some of those things will be beautiful and incredible and turn into stories that you'll tell your family and friends later on. Some of those things will be heartbreaking. And some of those things will be straight up like freaky and terrifying. But I want you to know this, that we've got the staff, we've got the volunteers, we've got the experience, the years doing this camp and similar camps, and we've got the partners in Portland to make this as safe an experience as we can possibly offer you. And I think it's going to be an incredible one. And one of the things that we do to prepare you students for homeless ministry at all of our Impact events is something called Homeless Day. Now, Homeless Day has gotten a pretty bad rap. For some reason, when you summarize it to a parent and say, oh yeah, we make your students homeless for a day, it just doesn't communicate properly. Students don't really like that summary either. But we actually adapted our Homeless Day from a homeless plunge, or an urban plunge, that we experienced in a YWAM base in San Francisco. The very first time we experienced anything like our current Impact Camp was in the Tenderloin District, a 30-block radius of San Francisco with thousands and thousands of homeless people living in it. A base is there, a Youth with a Mission base is there, and they do this homeless plunge, and they consider it one of the most valuable experiences that they offer. And they bring in high school students all summer long, every summer, and they've done this for 20 years, and they continue to say this is one of the most valuable experiences that they offer. And the reason why is because they want students not to show up and pity people and just be sad for people, but they want students to show up, and they want them to get in their shoes, and then they want them to go and love them. And I think it is equally one of the most valuable experiences that we can offer at this camp as well. And every year we have stories about Homeless Day. We want your students to feel what it's like to be homeless for a day. They're not going to experience everything, but we want them to experience what it's like to be tired and bored and not have anything to do and not have anywhere to be, and to be like dirty and not entertained and not have easy access to food. And so the structure of our Homeless Days, we're going to give your students a pretty basic meal in the morning, something equivalent to what they would receive at a shelter. We send them out for a service project for about 2 hours. If you're looking at your schedule, it's that 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 on Friday block. And then a lot of them will end up in different shelters around the downtown Portland area to actually eat lunch with some of the people at the shelters. I think that's one of the coolest experiences right there, is like that really puts you on a level playing field when you are sharing a meal with someone else who's actually homeless and you're not. You can't eat with someone and not feel equal with them. You know what I mean? It's like a cultural thing. And then for the rest of the day, they have no agenda other than they can't come home yet. And so students really wrestle with things like boredom and like purpose. And they have a lot of time with their thoughts, which can be scary for some people who have a lot of thoughts and don't know what to do with them. But I want to clarify a few things about this day. Some of the rumors that you've heard, I can neither confirm nor deny that 2 years ago a crawfish was caught out of a penny pond and eaten at the Capitol building. But we do offer some different variations for students to take this homeless experience as far as they're comfortable with going. It really is one of those things that you get as much out of it as you're willing to put into it. And we certainly don't pressure your students beyond their comfort zone. I definitely see a difference between your comfort zone and like a danger zone, and we try and keep students right on that border where they're just pushing past their comfort zone and trying some new things. So some of the variations that we do offer to students, we're not going to force anyone to do everything, but some of the things you might hear about is we do allow students the opportunity to reject hygiene or comfort items the night before. So when you show up on Thursday, they can choose not to take a shower or brush their teeth or put on deodorant or bring chapstick with them the next day. And it's amazing how that one act can put you so in the mindset of someone who doesn't have access to that stuff every single day. Like, not wearing deodorant is one of the most self-conscious things for people to do, and to not do that one day, but know that we're all not doing it together is quite an experience to have. You wouldn't think, we talk about these life-changing moments at camps, and not wearing deodorant could be one of them. So that's one of them. Another one we offer is how you choose to go to sleep Thursday night. If you'd like to, you can actually begin your homeless plunge Thursday evening going into Friday by choosing how you sleep. You can sleep on the floor. Some students choose to sleep without any blankets. We don't force anyone to do this. Some students have even slept on tile in the bathroom. I didn't necessarily encourage that one. That's what they wanted to do. Another variation on that is that students can carry everything with them the following day that they slept with that night before, as that's the posture most homeless people are in. That's the situation they're in, where whatever they have to bring with them the next day. And then we also have a few challenges. I'll just list a few that we've given fun names to. The pack rat, they can choose to carry all of their items with them, everything they brought to camp. The prince, they can find a way to get clean without taking a shower. 2 years ago, I had a group actually that it was like a gift from God. We stumbled upon this box of baking soda that had been thrown away, and we all brushed our teeth with it, with our fingers. And you'd think that's the grossest thing, but for someone who hasn't brushed their teeth in 24 hours, we were feeling pretty good after that baking soda wash. Some of you are updating your packing list right now. Baking soda, acceptable form of tooth hygiene. The Pioneer, this one, if you're in my group, we always shoot for the Pioneer, traveling more than 5 miles on foot. You may think you've walked a long distance in the mall, but it's amazing when you don't have public transport or a car, just how tired you get when you have to walk everywhere. And so that's also one of our goals that we offer as well. Some of you might have some more questions about that. Please jot them down on your handouts, and you can ask them to us during the Q&A at the end of the meeting. But that's Friday. So we're going to move on to Saturday, which is Impact Day, and Adam's going to give you a little more info on that.
Yeah, Homeless Day is a great preparation for what I think is maybe one of the coolest days that I ever get to experience, because as the students kind of get to put themselves, at least in a small way, into the shoes of some different people that they're going to serve, they come up with these unique and creative ways in which they want to serve their community. And just like if your student had gone to Go Camp previously, we give our high school students the opportunity to plan and execute their own service project to a group of really anybody they want to, but oftentimes it's the homeless community that we've been serving or we've been experiencing. And so what's so cool is some groups will go right after an individual person, and they get $40. They get the opportunity to get $40 and use that $40 however they want. Some of our students bring extra money, and they sacrifice their spending money to be able to serve these different people in a variety of different ways. Basically, the only rule that we have for them on their impact time is we want them to show these people God's love, and they can't actually give them physical money because we don't want to encourage maybe a bad habit that they have otherwise. So they need to find a creative way in which to do this. So for me and my group, we had the opportunity when we were in Spokane just to simply serve really one person. And we got to sit down and talk with them. We had Pepsi with them and just sat down at the park and got to hear a story for almost an hour. And it was so cool. And we got to just hear all these different backgrounds and just had an incredible time just getting to know him. And then we just asked him, what are some of the specific needs that you have? And as we got to hear his story and got to share, and he got to share his heart, we also got to just bless him in just a small way. He needed a backpack. And so we had the opportunity to go to, I believe, just a local Walgreens, and he got to pick out a specific backpack that he liked, that fit him well, and he got to put in and then he, at Walgreens, got to put in a handful of different things that he specifically needed that he normally wouldn't be able to do. So some groups are going to do something on an individual basis and be able to serve one person. Other groups are going to have this grand idea to be able to, a lot of groups have put together these personal hygiene packs. So they come up with these ideas, and in the past we've had cinch packs or a variety of different things, and they come up with these hygiene packs, and they go into some of these specific areas where they know there's some need, and they get to walk up and have conversations with people to sit down and talk with them and then give them something that would bless them. Things like socks and deodorant, baking soda. I don't know. Just being able to, those simple basic things sometimes can just be so encouraging. I mean, as I sat down and we were able to give our guy, his name was James, as we were able to give James the backpack, just tears started to flow down into his eyes. Because even though there's all of these people around them that walk by them all the time, there aren't very many people that slow down to notice them, especially not to sit down and have a 45-minute conversation with them. So that just doesn't happen. People just walk by. We just walk by. And we want to give our students the opportunity to not just walk by again past somebody that is in need. We want them to stop and enter into the moment and to be able to care for them right where they're at, to be able to see how they're doing, to be able to share God's love with them. There have been times when students have been able to share who Jesus is to these people. There are times where these people share who Jesus is to us, and it's a beautiful thing. And there are times where we pray for them. And when my 8th grade guys now went down to Go Camp, we were talking to a gentleman who was playing his recorder and just got to serve and love on him and tell us all about his kitty named Muffins. After all of that, we asked if we could pray for him, and he said, "Can I pray for you?" And so there's this beautiful opportunity in which God doesn't just use us to love on them, but God uses them to love on us. And so it's this really cool, really awesome moments where sometimes we think we're going to serve them, and in reality, our heart is the one that is full at the end. And it is just so cool, and it is so fulfilling. And so they're going to have these different opportunities to be able to do these different projects. And both on Friday and Saturday, the students are going to have these little cards that they can hand to anybody that they meet to invite them to come to a barbecue at Waterfront Park. And to me, that is like the highlight of the time. It is just so cool to have a couple days where you're having conversations with people, and then you get to invite these different people, and we get to just have a barbecue with them and just sit down and laugh with them and talk with them, and it is just so cool. Because when you had a conversation with whoever it was and you got to serve them, and then they come and they sit with you for another couple hours and you get to see them, you'll just see students like welcoming them and so excited to see them. And it is just a really, really cool and amazing moment.
Sunday Funday, though, in the past when we've gone to Spokane, how many of you have gone to Spokane for our Impact Camp before? Okay. So usually on Sunday it's a tough week. It's an emotionally, it's a physically draining week, it's mentally draining. It's a tough week, and we like to end the week because it's hard to be like, hey, you want to come and be homeless for a week, and it's really hard, But we try and do something fun on Sunday. So we call it, this is the first year I think we are officially calling it Sunday Funday because it's gonna be fun. And in the past, when we've gone to Spokane, we've took the bus over to Silverwood, and we've gone on some roller coasters, and that's been fun. There's nothing that cool like that around Portland. So we're not going to be doing something like that. Instead, we're going to be doing something a little different that we've never done before at camp, but I'm personally really, really excited for it. We should have a little map up here of Portland. Okay, so it's okay if you can't see everything super in detail right now. This is just to give you a general idea. But on Sunday, students, this is where you want to be taking specific note of this in your mind because you're going to have some decisions to make. On Sunday, you're going to be in the city those first 3 days, but there's going to be like temptation to like, oh, I want to go to Voodoo Donuts and get a donut, or like, oh, I want to go and see the sights over here, right? But we're not going to have time to do that. We're going to be like really busy in downtown Portland the whole time. And so we wanted to give you Sunday afternoon to just walk around and chill and enjoy some of the sights that downtown Portland has to offer, so that when you say to someone, hey, I went to Portland for camp, they're like, oh, did you go here? Did you go to Powell's Books? Did you go to Stumptown Coffee? Did you go, they'll ask you, they'll be like, yeah, we did, so you'll have an opportunity to kind of be a tourist for Sunday afternoon, which will be hopefully really fun. Right there on the map, I'll have all these things listed. It didn't fit up on the screen, but there's just little stars. Those are just kind of like common Portland places that you would want to visit, right? I already mentioned there's Voodoo Donuts, there's Stumptown Coffee, there's this place called Salt and Straw Ice Cream. They make like really wacky ice cream flavors that are pretty awesome. There's a food truck corner. That evening, we're going to be giving you guys $20 that day when we head downtown. So this is where your budgeting skills. We're also teaching your students about budgeting. We're going to have the full Dave Ramsey on Saturday night. No, but it is going to come in handy, right? So on Sunday, you're going to get students. We're literally going to hand you $20. And like, this is in place of us paying for your fee to go to an amusement park, right? That's the crossover. Instead of paying for you to go enter into an amusement park, we just hand you $20. That $20, you basically can use it however you want that afternoon. So here's some options. There's like a movie theater right there. There's Pioneer Place, which is like an outdoor shopping center. So you can go to different shopping places. So you can even buy yourself some souvenirs. We don't care. Here's the catch, though. That's also your dinner money that day. So if you go and buy a $20 baseball hat, the first 5 minutes that we get downtown, you're going to be hungry that evening. Like, that's your dinner money as well. So maybe you don't want to spend any of your money like going and seeing a movie or anything like that. Maybe you just want to buy like a $20 lasagna that night. We don't care. You can use that money however you want that day, but you just have to know that's also your dinner money. And that's another reason why bringing your student ID, this is just another reminder, is really valuable. Like Adam said, one of the stars right at the bottom there is the Portland Art Museum. It's $20 for a ticket. It's $0 if you have your student ID. So if you wanted to like go and like see some trendy Portland art and you don't have your student ID, you've just used all your money, right, to go and do that. Again, this is when bringing spending money will come in handy. So we encourage you, if you wanted to bring spending money to this camp, you can. If you don't have spending money to bring, that's okay. You will still have an enjoyable time at camp. It's not like everyone's going to be doing stuff and you're like, oh, I don't have the money to do it, right? You're going to have $20. So you could go see a movie. You could buy yourself a nice dinner as well with that money. So that is kind of Sunday funny. Here's another little piece of that, because it's an extended period of time. You're going to have like 4.5, 5 hours of time that day. And so we realize that some of you walking around downtown may not be the most enjoyable thing for you. So you should have little pieces of paper that have Sunday Funday options. You have those, students? Show me those in the air, okay, if you got those. Okay, here's what I want you to do right now. You have 4 options on here. Basically, the idea is this. If there are some of you who would love to do a different activity for the first 2 hours of that Sunday afternoon free time, we want to be able to cater to that. So there's a zoo not far from downtown, so we could bus a group of students to the zoo. There's this park that's 87 acres that has like redwoods in it called Pier Park. I've been there 3 times. They have an awesome disc golf course if you're into disc golf. I personally hope that all of you check that box because I would love to go play disc golf with everyone. But if you wanted to, we could bus a group of students there so you could walk around the park. You could play disc golf there. If you wanted to see a movie, right? If you wanted to, like, if we knew that there was a group of students for a movie, we could buy those tickets ahead of time, right? And we could just give you $10 for dinner. So we could purchase your tickets, make sure we all get in there. Or if you're just like, forget all the other stuff, I just want to chill in downtown Portland for extra time. I want to be downtown Portland the entire free time. Those are your 4 options. So here's what I want you to do right now. You're not going to have much time to think about this, and you can even change your answer later when we get to camp. We just want to give a general feel for what the students want to do. Go ahead and check the box. The number one thing, if you were to say the first 2 hours of that Sunday afternoon free time, this is how I would like to spend it. I'd like to go to the Pier Park disc golf, where we can go in the park. I'd like to go to the zoo. I'd like to watch a movie, or I'd like to just be downtown for the full time. Go ahead and check that box right now, and run up here and put it on the stage. This will wake you up a little bit. Yeah, and just so you know, you'll still have like 2.5 hours of time, even if you wanted to go to the park for a little bit. There's still going to be 2.5 hours of time after that where you can hang out, hit the food trucks, go get dinner, that sort of thing. Oh, everybody's going to the zoo. Oh, going to the zoo. The zoo is legit, the Portland Zoo. I've actually never been there. I want to go. I'll probably play disc golf, though. That's really fun. Jeremy. All right, so that's a quick picture of Sunday Funday. Rounding out Sunday Funday is that morning we're going to be at Grace Point Church, and we're actually, it's really cool. It's a cool church facility. Most of the people in the congregation are kind of like this guy named Lyle that we met. Like, just picture the name Lyle, and that's basically who he is. He's like, in his late 60s, and he wears suspenders. He's awesome, okay? And so anyways, most of the congregation, it's just an older population in the congregation at Grace Point Christian Church. And so they're like so pumped. Everyone I've talked to from there is so pumped. They're like, you're going to come and we're going to get to meet youths? They're like so excited for you guys. And I'm really pumped for you guys as well. So that day at Grace Point, Adam's going to lead worship. We're going to have our band, our youth band, lead worship that day. And it's going to be super cool. And I'm going to stand up and I'm going to preach and I'm going to use so much slang words. They don't even know what I'm saying, right? But it's going to be really cool. We're going to go to church with them and we're going to follow their same order of service. So we'll have one of their elders do the communion meditation. It'll be really cool. It'll be a really cool experience that morning. And then that evening, we're all going to be rendezvousing at this. So we're going to get experience kind of like an older congregation, a smaller congregation. That night, we're going to go to super trendy Portland church, okay? And so this year for sessions, I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about sessions, give you a sneak peek of sessions. We got another slide up here of some of the different people we're going to get to hear from. This camp, some of you guys recognize that guy over there on the left? Yeah, so that's Robbie York. He used to work here at the Pursuit, felt called by God to go plant a church, and now he has a church called Freedom Church in Southeast Portland. And the very first night, so he's going to come and share with us about his experience and about some of the ministry that his church is doing. And he's actually going to lead some of you guys in your service projects the next day. Some of you guys are going to get to go chill with Robbie, so that'll be super fun. The next day, right there in the middle, that's Steve and Jackie Johnson, and they're from Grace Point. Those are the people who are letting us use their facility. Randomly, Adam mentioned that Bree Susie, now Breanne Johnson, is married to their son, right? Who randomly was my roommate my junior year of college. So there's just weird connections with Steve, okay? But seriously, Steve is super legit. Before he was the minister at Grace Point, he was a youth minister. I don't even know how long. Over 25 years though. Okay? He's long time. That's hashtag goals for Adam Casper, okay? That's what he has done most of his life. Some of my best friends that I met at Bible college were all from this suburb called Milwaukee, Oregon, which is just outside of Portland. And all of them, Steve was their youth pastor. And he's just a super solid guy. And because he's not speaking on Sunday, he's actually going to come on Friday night, and he's going to share with you guys. And so I'm pumped for you. He's going to bring the word. You better believe it, okay? Steve Johnson's going to bring the word. That's going to be super awesome. And then Sunday night, we are going to rendezvous. One of the stars on that map is for this church called a Jesus Church. And it's this, if you've ever heard of that guy on the left, I don't know if you, or that guy on the right, he looks so much more trendy than the other two guys, right? Because he is, okay? He is legit downtown Portland. He just oozes hipster, okay? His name's John Mark Comer, and he's he studied under this famous theology buff called N.T. Wright, if you've ever read any of N.T. Wright's commentaries, that sort of stuff. And he studied under him, and he's a super legit communicator and preacher, and we're going to get to go to a Jesus church that night. And it's going to be, if we're going to Grace Point in the morning, then we go to Jesus Church that night, it's going to be a pretty stark contrast. It'll be pretty cool for you guys to get to experience something like that. So I'm really excited about that. We've never done this for camp before. Usually you'll just have me just speak every night, but you're going to get to hear from some actual ministers who are doing ministry right now. They're in the trenches in Portland, right? And I'm really excited for you guys to get to hear some of their perspectives and hear some of their voices to speak into your lives as well. So that's a little bit about what session looks like. One last thing I wanted to mention, just so you guys know, we're going to do questions after this. So be writing down your questions. If you have any, we have time for questions? Yeah, we got 10 minutes. Yeah, we'll go 15 long. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. So we'll have some questions after this. So write down your questions if you have any questions, and we'll field those. I'll have Andrew and Adam come up in just a second. But one of the things we see God move in amazing ways, and honestly, it's not usually because we have awesome, sessions or messages at camp. It's because, first of all, we're giving you as students an opportunity to serve, an opportunity for God to use you. But second of all, we give you plenty of opportunities to spend time interacting with God's word. And we really, I don't know if you guys can tell this if you've ever been to our camps before, we put a really high emphasis on giving students an opportunity to spend time with God every single day of camp. That's a really big priority for us because we want you to get in the habit of being in God's word and of being in prayer. And so something cool for you students is you're going to be in these impact groups that Adam talked about. So you're going to have two groups. You're going to have your impact group, and that's the mixed gender group that you go and serve during the day with. And then you're also going to have your life group, and that's your regular life group. And that's the group that you will sleep in the same room as them, but you will also do your God time with them, and you'll also be able to have conversations with them on the buses. So spending your God time, going through the word and praying with them, you're going to be doing your debriefs with your life groups. So even though you're serving with these people during the day, you're going to get to kind of like it's like share and tell, like show and tell. You're going to just get to share what God did in your impact group with your life group that evening. So those are kind of the two different groups for you guys to expect.